Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another great, super cool radio interview. I'm your host, as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have an incredible guest joining me at this time. I'm very excited to chat with him. He was a member of Sylvain and the Sylvains, rhythm guitarist for Dead Boys from 2017-2019, and the current lead guitarist for an absolutely killer band known as the Oxys. Please welcome Jason Ginchy Kottwitz. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm very excited to chat with you, and I really appreciate the time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Glad to be here.
So I know we got a lot to discuss because the Oxys have a new album, Generation Irrelevant, coming out. But before we jump into all that, I got a fun question to kick off this interview. I'm curious for you, if you could have dinner with any two musicians, living or deceased, who would they be?
Malcolm Young and Johnny Thunders.
Nice. Solid picks. Very solid picks. I like it. I think we're off to a great start here.
Those are two of my favorites. And so, when people ask me, what are you going for with the Oxys guitar sound? I always tell them, I'm like, Malcolm Young on the right, Johnny Thunders on the left. That's where we try to go. I don't know if we hit that mark or not, but we try.
No, Ryan, I could definitely respect. I just recently learned about like Johnny Thunders through a friend of mine, because she was talking about like his death and how like kind of like mysterious, kind of how the circumstances of his death was. And I was like, I want to look into him, and that's how I recently discovered him probably a few months ago.
Yeah, sure. Is it pretty crazy? Yeah, that's a crazy story. Me and my wife got married in New Orleans like 5 years ago. And we stayed in that room that he allegedly died in New Orleans. It used to be room 37, but if you go to the hotel now, they've actually remodeled it. But some Johnny Thunders freak went down to City Hall and got the old plans, and they basically made the determination that the actual room he died in is now room number 7. So if anyone out there is traveling for nostalgia purposes and wants to stay in that room, well, there you go.
Well, that's good information to know.
Very morbid information.
Well, if anyone does want to, go there, at least they know what room it's going to be now.
Yeah, right.
So anything like you stayed in that room? Anything happened? Any memorable things, or is it just pretty normal?
Well, a lot of memorable things, but those all kind of apply to the wedding. As far as supernatural things, I didn't really sense much of that, No,
I should have clarified that question a little bit better. All right, so focusing on the Oxys now, you guys added a new member fairly recently, Genocide.
Yeah.
How'd you guys meet her and like determine she was a good fit for the band?
Okay, well, there wasn't much thinking that went behind that. So I've been friends with Holly for years. And we had some stuff coming up, and the old rhythm guitar player we were using, he decided he was going to go back to school. So he wasn't going to have time to do what we wanted to do. And I was on the phone one day with Holly, Genocide, and was like, we were just talking, and I was telling her what was going on with the band. And then I was like, oh, hey, you want to play in this band? Like I hadn't even thought about it beforehand or given it any thought. But, she had played in bands in the past, and I'd seen her play. I knew she could play. And I know how enthusiastic she is about her bands and stuff like that. So she was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot. And I sent her all the isolated tracks for her parts. She learned them, came into practice, and knocked them out. So here we are. And she's been, I'm super thankful to have her in the band, because she does all the marketing, a lot of the marketing. On the creative side, she does a lot in terms of all like the social networking stuff that I don't really care about. And she actually did our latest video for Mr. Horrible. Like, she edited that whole video and everything. So it was awesome. And she's been a huge asset for us. So I'm glad to have her aboard.
Oh no, right on. Yeah, definitely. Sounds like she's a great fit. I mean, I've seen some videos, with her performing with you guys. Sounds amazing, and very, very active behind the scenes for you guys with the marketing and obviously video editing as well.
No, she rocks, and she's super fun. So we love having her in the band.
Right on. Very, very glad to hear about her joining the band, and she's a very good fit for you guys as well. So does lead me to the very big reason I'm chatting with you for this interview. Oxys have a new album, Generation Irrelevant. So what can people expect musically and lyrically from this album?
Musically and lyrically, well, in comparison to the first album, the second album is faster. You know, a lot of the reviews from the first album were like, oh, this is totally a proto-punk style record. The new one is a little more in your face. It's a little more pissed off because, you know, we were writing this album during the pandemic. Also, our singer was, he basically almost died last year, 2022. He was in a coma for like 13 days and they didn't know if he was going to live or not. And he ended up pulling out. But I mean, there's a lot of that kind of thing going on, you know, where it's a darker album. Some of it's darker and just more pissed off in general, a faster album, I guess. It's been compared to a lot of things. I hate to compare my band to anything because I feel like listeners are going to be able to hear it and be like, oh, this sounds along the lines of this. Whereas for me to tell you what it sounds like, you know, I'm pretty much fantasizing about what I'd like it to sound like, but I don't know if it sounds like that or not. I'm just, you know, I write the riffs, I write the songs, and I try to write songs that I want to hear. That's all I can do.
No, then that is all you can do, but you can do it, you know, in a way that's fun and a way that you want to create music. I've had the opportunity to listen to the first album and the second album, and I definitely noticed that change in pace. You know, second album is faster, and it definitely has more of an edge to it for like the song, you know, for the album compared to the first one.
Yeah.
So for you, like, do you have a favorite song off the new album?
A favorite song off the new album? I really like the track Isolation, the last song on the A side. I really like that song. I really like the last song on the B side, Screaming in Silence. I mean, I like them all. I don't know. Those are probably two that stick out to me, you know, that I like.
No, I knew that was gonna be a little.
They're all fun to play.
Well, no, that's good. I'm glad you really enjoy all of them too, like off the album as well. I knew that was gonna be a little bit of a difficult question. That's why I just asked it just out of my own really curiosity. That's why.
Yeah. So for the song I picked, really, Isolation. We're getting ready to shoot a new video for that one, and that will be the second single released from the record.
Oh, right on. Can you give any hints like what the video might look like?
You know, we just picked the place that we're going to shoot it. It's outside of San Antonio. It's if it works out, mind you, it's 110-degree heat. So logistically, if, you know, we don't melt out there, the video will be shot there. But I think we're going to shoot it at this old abandoned mental institution. It's on the south side of San Antonio. It's really cool.
Oh, that sounds really cool. I hope everything works out for you guys and no one melts in the filming of the video.
Right. Yeah, there are tons of places we wanted to shoot it at, but it was just, we're all sitting there looking at it and the sun's shining down. It's outdoor and it's like, man, we're probably in for another 100 degrees of 100-degree heat. So Yeah, logistically, we have to think about that kind of thing, I guess, down here.
Yeah, especially in like, rolling into August and, the one of the hottest months. So yeah, you have to make sure that, you guys are gonna be well taken care of and,
Yeah.
hydrate. All right, so I was curious. So, like, what is like the writing process for the Oxys?
Well, the writing process is what we start doing is we start demoing. I start demoing songs at home. So I basically put together the entire song. In my home studio, I'll put together the entire song. I'll put drums, bass, 2 guitars. I'll do all the key parts, whether it's an organ or farfisa, or if I even want keys on it. And then I'll try to come up with words or a chorus or some sort of lyrics. And sometimes I will track the entire song, and I'll just basically send the song to everyone and say, boom, here it is. Or about half the time I shoot it over to our singer, and he will write lyrics and he will fill out the vocal parts. So that's where the songs start. For the first album, I think we demoed. We had a lot of demos for the first album. I think we had 50 or 60 ideas floating around. And then the second album, we had 50 or 60 ideas floating around. And I just started tracking the third album yesterday, like as in actually tracking it. And I think we demoed 50 or 60 songs for that one. So then what we do is we'll go back and we'll pick the 10 we like best, or we usually put 10 songs on our records. I'll pick the ones that we like best, and whatever sequences together well. Like, there were songs we didn't put on the first record or the second record that I think are awesome songs, maybe even better than some of the songs on there. They just didn't seem to sequence well in the grand scheme of the album. So I don't know. We have a lot of leftover type tracks and stuff like that.
No, gotcha. I was just curious for you guys, the songwriting, but it sounds like you guys have a lot of ideas and a lot of songs to pick from, that even if they don't make it on like this album or the next album, you still have plenty of ideas left over for, more material.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what I do, is sit around and write songs all the time. So
right on. I can dig that. I can definitely dig that. I did want to talk about, you touched on what the second single is going to be. I did want to talk about the first single off the album, that is Mr. Horrible. I heard there's like a story behind the title of that, and I would like to hear from you, like what the story is behind it.
Oh, okay. So with that one, this goes back to when I was doing the thing with Sylvain, and we were doing a residency. Sylvain, the Sylvains were doing a residency down at a club here in town called Hotel Vegas. So Sylvain was staying at my house for like a month. And one day I wandered in there, and he basically was telling me the story about the first time that Sid Vicious met Freddie Mercury. And he basically told me that I'd never heard this story before. Apparently it's not terribly uncommon. That when Sid met Freddie, he basically walked up to him and asked him if he'd succeeded in bringing the ballet to the masses. Kind of a snarky remark or whatever. And Sylvain had told me that Freddie started calling him Mr. Horrible. That was his version of the story. Well, the actual name that Freddie Mercury called Sid Vicious was Mr. Ferocious. But lyrically speaking, I went ahead and wrote Mr. Horrible, and the song is about Sid Vicious. But it's because, I found the story that he told me and the manner in which he did it very charming. So we went with that, and it seemed to work lyrically a lot better. So that's the story behind that.
No, I heard part of the story, but but I didn't know it was actually not called Mr. Like, he didn't call him Mr. Horrible. I didn't know that part.
No, he actually, I believe he called him Mr. Ferocious, is what Freddie Mercury had called Sid Vicious. But yeah, when Sylvain told me this story, he called him Mr. Horrible.
I got you. And it happened to work out, you know, for the song wise, happened to work out. Mr. Horrible worked out a little bit better.
Same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so last thing about like the album and writing music for the Oxys. Then I did want to talk about the live show for you guys for a little bit. So Generation Irrelevant is released about 8 months after A Day with the Oxys. Let me try that again. Generation Irrelevant was released 8 months after A Date with the Oxys. Should people expect that kind of time frame for like the next album already?
Yeah, I'm tracking the next album right now.
So about a similar release time for like the next the
yeah. I mean, we'll see. If everything goes according to plan, yes.
Right. Well, I've already been digging the first 2 albums, and I definitely can't wait for the third one. And the new one is barely not even released yet. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I've been digging what you guys have been doing. And I really enjoyed Generation Relevant. Just listening to it, like it flowed very well. Like I had to listen to the first one, and like I can't stop midway through the album. I have to finish it. It sounded really good, and I'm very impressed.
Well, what's your favorite song off the album?
Mr. Horrible. That's my favorite.
All right.
I just like it's catchy, it's fast paced, and like I was still like singing it to myself like after I was done listening to it. So that's my favorite.
Awesome. I wrote that one, so I'm thrilled to hear that.
Well, very good. All right, so I did want to discuss the live show aspect of the Oxys for a little bit. I've seen you guys been playing some really killer shows. I think you just played with another band who I interviewed recently, the Super Suckers.
Oh yeah.
For you, do you have a favorite song to perform live?
My favorite song to perform live? Yeah. My favorite song to perform live is a song that's not on either one of those records. It's actually on the third record. It's a song called Idiot Box. We close with it, and that's probably my favorite. That's probably one of my favorite songs in the set to play. You'll get to hear that in several months.
Well, in about 8 months, I'm definitely going to look forward to listening to it. Can you give me hints about like what it's going to sound like for people who have not listened to it yet, if who have not seen you guys live?
You mean the new album or that
song? Yeah, that particular song.
Man, I mean, it sounds it's right on par with the other 2 albums. It's fast, it's a heater, and it's So the third record that we're doing right now sits somewhere in between the first album and the second album, right? So it goes back a little bit to that, a little bit of more of a proto sound, not as furious as the second one, but it's still fast. It sounds like us. It's in between the first 2 records somewhere.
Well, right on. I definitely look forward to checking out when it is released, but I've been really digging Generation Irrelevant for right now. So I'm curious for you, like, I know you write and record a lot of music each day. Do you mentally prepare differently to like perform live compared to recording music?
I don't really do much any mental preparation for it because I'm used to doing it, so I just do it. It comes pretty natural, I guess. I don't have to put myself in any state of mind or anything like that, It's just, I play a show, I'm thinking to myself, hey, just go out there and rock it, And then if I'm sitting down to write a song, I'm just like, hey, write something that rocks. That's a pretty basic thing, I guess. I don't give it too much thought. I just do it.
No, I like it. I mean, just show up and rock. I mean, that's what music is. It should be fun and should just rock out. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. I don't overthink it ever, really. Unless there's something logistically going on the stage that I have to be conscious of. Like every once in a while, you'll play a place like El Corazon in Seattle where there's like a pole in the middle of the stage, and you got to remember that pole's there so you don't knock yourself out, the performance though, I really don't give it too much thought. I just make sure my sound's dialed in for the room the way I want it.
Right, and watch any obstacles on the stage as well.
Yeah.
All right, so I got one more question, and then we'll be wrapping this up. We talk about the future plans for the Oxys. Before we get to that, it's probably the most challenging question I will ask you, and that is like, what has been some of your favorite moments from your music career?
Boy, that's a tough one. I mean, there's been a lot of memorable things happen off the stage in my musical career that are obviously amusing. As far as the actual music itself, I can't forget, like, when I did the Dead Boys 40th anniversary, we played at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and that was pretty cool. Not gonna lie, probably the first and last time I'll ever be there. Doing some of the older clubs, Ernie, when I used to play in a band called Swamp Ass in the late 90s, early 2000s, and we got to play at CBGB, which is really cool and memorable for me. Playing at like the Whiskey A Go Go in Hollywood is things like that are cool, like the venues. I don't know. I would say the most memorable, or my favorite, is touring in Japan with Sylvain. Sylvain was my favorite, probably. That was really super awesome. The shows were great. They treated us like rock stars over there because of him. He hadn't played there since 1975 with the New York Dolls. So when he showed up, it was like, I felt like an A-lister for 15 minutes. It was pretty cool.
Oh no, it definitely sounds like I've interviewed a few one band touring in Japan, and they said like the culture and everything is just so widely different compared to like U.S. and Europe that it's crazy just to be there, and just their hospitality and everything.
Yeah, it's amazing over there. Like, I hope the Oxys get to go over there. We'll see.
I hope you guys do make
Working on it.
Hey, I think it's possible for you guys, so I do hope that happens for you. I'd love to go to Japan at some point. My bank account currently says no, so maybe at some point.
Yeah, it's expensive over there, that's for sure.
I know I got one of my good friends lives over there now, and he was telling me like the prices of stuff, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Do you tell him it's a good thing? Good thing he's over there. You can crash on his floor, right? Save yourself some money.
He has invited me. I mean, I'm hoping I can make it out there while he's still around. Like he's still.
I would take advantage of that if you can.
I know. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. All right. So now, close out this interview. What are the plans for the Oxys for the rest of this year, 2023, and into 2024?
So for the rest of this year, we're going to be playing regional shows for the next couple months. I know in December we're going to be out in New York City and that area for some shows. Turning the corner into next year, we're supposed to do Spain and Portugal in January. We have to finish the record that I just started working on. We're going to work hard to finish that record, over the next 2 months, and get that one cooking for next year. Shooting a video, here real quick for Isolation off the Generation Irrelevant record. I don't know. We're just going to keep motoring at that pace. Hopefully pick up a tour here or there is what our booking agent's trying to do for us. So fingers crossed.
Well, I hope you guys got a lot on your plate. I hope everything works out for you guys. Between the music video plus like touring, Spain, performing in Spain next year as well. You guys got a lot on your plate. And I hope the best for you and the band, because it sounds like it's gonna be a lot of awesome things. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing what the future brings for sure. Hopefully, maybe we can get up to South Bend.
Hey, I would love. Hey, if you're in my area, dude, let me know. I'd love doing in person with you guys. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Do you got one more thing before we close this out? Where are the best places to find the Oxys online?
The best places to find the Oxys online. Well, we have theoxys.com, I believe, is our website. I think. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. We have a Twitter page. We have a Threads page. We have a TikTok page. Did I mention Twitter? Because we do have a Twitter page. I'm responsible for that, so it's pretty sparse over there. But we have a YouTube page. We have a Bandcamp page. Bandcamp's good because you can get some merch there. And then, of course, we're on all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, and whatever else. I'm sure we're on a bunch of them.
Right on. I will leave some links for the Oxys in the description of this podcast as well. Please check out and support them, and check out the new album, Generation Irrelevant. Jason, I had such a great time chatting with you. Thank you so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, for Ginchy, I'm your host as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.